Ever wondered if Korean and Chinese makeup is worth your money? Let me help. Hi guys, this is Misha from Made Up Research, and today we're gonna be talking about my favorite everyday Korean and Chinese beauty. I have my old trusty rusty bowl filled with everything that I use basically on the daily basis. I feel like every time I do my makeup, I reach for at least like 70% of these. So that's what we're gonna do today, because I feel like there's a ton of overhyped Korean and Chinese makeup and skincare and stuff, and it gets really confusing because sometimes you just spend your hard-earned money on something that's expensive and then it sucks. So yeah, let me tell you about my favorites. Let's go. We're gonna start with priming, of course. You may have seen me talk about this. This is the Yunjac Skin Perfecting Protective Base Prep. I gotta say, this is overhyped as hell online. And it is technically like a priming serum. It looks like this. It's very lightweight, serum-y texture. You can go as heavy or as light with it as you want, depending on how your skin feels, which I really like. So if I'm feeling a bit more oily, I'm just gonna put a little bit on, and it makes your skin so smooth and beautiful. Just a tiny bit tacky. It's definitely not like the gripping primers that have been everywhere, that I also like. But it gives you like a nice, even slightly sticky, but very well taken care of base. My favorite. For my foundation, you may have seen me talk about this already, and I fully thought this is a gimmick. I'm not even sure why I bought it. This is the Entropy Organza Fit Spatula Foundation. It's very liquidy, so you have to shake it really well. And then, when you twist it open, you see that there's a spatula inside. Why is it there, you ask? Because of the dosage of the foundation. Do you dose foundation? I don't think you do. Doesn't matter. It's so that you don't over apply the amount of foundation. So it comes out like this, and what I do is I take one side, the other, and then just a bit here, and then I dip it back in and do just like my forehead. And that is it. That's the perfect amount. I'm personally very used to using this with foundation brushes, but I guess you could probably use it with a sponge as well. It's just like super lightweight, and I might be scared that the sponge would like eat it all, but it is a beautiful foundation. It's like a very everyday kind of coverage slash finish, because it does leave you looking like a little bit glowy, very natural, but not dewy. And the coverage, I would say, is like a light medium, which is something that I usually go for every day, because I don't spend my hard-earned money on skincare for me to then cover it all up. Of course, you can do whatever you want, but it took a lot of work to get my skin to this condition. Of course, I don't have a full face, so I'm just gonna be putting in some other products. So with this, I usually grab like a little bit of a higher coverage concealer. Today I'm using the Troublemaker Ditto Concealer. Now let's talk blush before we powder. You already heard about these 1,000 times. I already mentioned them in videos 1,000 times. Is the Fwee Pudding Pot, of course. My current favorite is the shade B, which is a little bit more on like the nude neutral side. And yeah, I reach for these all the time. I really like the texture. It does dry down completely matte. It's not dewy, it's not sticky. Your hair doesn't stick to it. That's a big pet peeve for me. And this shade in particular is such a beautiful, like everyday kind of burnt beige. So I reach for it a lot. So let's just take a look. I personally like to apply it with a stippling brush. I think I already said this in a video like 1,000 times. But yeah, stippling brush, then buff it onto the back of my hand. Here you can see how gorgeous it is. And then I'm just gonna apply it on the face. One good thing about these is if you like under apply and you want to add more, you can also apply it on top of powder, which I think is absolutely wonderful and genius, because sometimes you're not sure how much you're putting on and how much you should be putting on below your powder. So yeah, this is the blush. If you can, I would recommend going out to a store and swatching these if you want to get a shade, because they do look quite different online than they actually do in real life. But yeah, the shade B, my current favorite. Look at that, so juicy. I'm gonna blend out the concealer once more, because we're gonna be setting it with a very special powder. This is the tfit translucent set finishing powder in the shade for Lavender. You didn't expect that, did you? Because I'm kind of bashing the colorful powders everywhere I go. However, this one, completely different. Like, this is not as pigmented as many of the colorful powders that are out there. So what you have to do, it does have like this little sieve and a little stopper and also a little powder puff, but I don't really like it. It's too, I don't know, it's just kind of flimsy. But what I do is I just grab a little bit. You can see it almost looks white. And then I just tap it on my hand and go in. And this is the most smooth and beautiful setting powder. Like, I don't know, I think I'll have to repurchase it. I don't think I want my under eyes to use anything else ever. And because it's not just an under eye powder, you can also use it to set your whole T-zone, which I love. And it's kind of brightening as well, thanks to the lavender tone in it. But as you can tell on my face, it's not like excessive purple. It's just a little bit of a, like an anti-fatigue tone, I would say. And they do a lot of different colors. They even do like a regular translucent one. So if you're not into the colorful aspect of it, I would recommend getting even just a regular one. It's really not super pricey and it's amazing quality. It's basically the same as another powder that we have in our lineup today, which is the Laneige powder. This is hella expensive. I don't remember what it's called because there's nothing on the packaging. I think it's called like Neo something, I don't know. But it did go viral some time ago because it does have this like little sieve. So when you actually, like, mine is almost empty, but when you like press it, it jumps up. See? Yeah, it kind of jumps up through the sieve. Again, you do get a powder puff with it. Again, I don't really like it. I'm just fussy with my applicators. What I do is I take a powder brush. This is from Essence, my favorite, by the way, at the moment. And I just start banging the sieve with the brush. You don't have to be like super aggressive, just kind of like get it in there. And don't worry, it's there. And then I start tapping it in. And you can immediately feel the skin getting like really matte and smooth. This is the finest powder I have ever felt. This is like baby powder, but like on a molecular level. Yeah, I feel like Korean powders are really something else, and I don't really feel like people talk about it enough. Like, yeah, there's a lot of cute, blushes and lip stains and stuff, but have you tried the powders? Like, that's a whole different realm. First, I kind of just tap it in to make sure it's distributed everywhere, and then I start buffing it in very, very lightly to make sure that it's in every nook and cranny, and my face isn't gonna be sweating. This is insane. Like, the quality of these two powders, like when I use these, which is all the time because I cannot get enough of it, the makeup stays on so well. I would 100% recommend either of these. So I added a tiny bit of bronzer, I primed my eyes, and I put some clear brow gel in my brows. I'm not going for like a super, out there look today. So let's continue with the eyes. I want to give a shout out to this eyeshadow palette, which I thought it was expensive when I was buying it. And it's from Rom&nd. It's their neutral eyeshadow quad. And when I first saw it in the drugstore, I was like, oh, like this is kind of expensive for a quad. But then, like, I realized it's the only eyeshadow I reach for. Like, I'm going somewhere, I'm taking this. I'm doing someone's wedding makeup, I'm taking this. Like, I did 2 weddings with this. 2 weddings. So, yeah, it's just insanely good. You can get, like, different warmth of the shades. This is the neutral one. They also have a cool toned one and war toned one. Many different ones with like different, shades and stuff. This is the most basic palette I own and also one of the ones that I reach for the most. Because even if you have a fun shimmer, you can use the neutrals. You need a nice gold, you can use the gold. It's surprisingly great for a pressed palette shimmer, honestly. So let me just swatch it for you. So this is the light shade, this is the medium shade, and this is the dark shade. They're not that patchy, I swear. It's just a weird angle of the finger. And then for the shimmer, here. See, it's such a beautiful gold with like so much dimension. I feel like you don't really see this good of a gold shimmer in these small palettes. Usually the shimmer is like the weakest part of the palette. And that is why I kind of steer away from buying palettes like this, because I feel like they're always just lacking something. But this palette, no, this palette is a classic. And also for the eyes, I have the Unleashia Pretty Easy Glitter Stick. I bought this when I was on a holiday. I don't even remember where. This is the shade 2 Flutter. And it's exactly what it says. It is essentially like an eyeshadow stick, but glittery. But the thing is, let me swatch it for you again. It's like very glittery. It's super, super vibrant and really gorgeous and stays on for so long. There's like a lot of ways you can use this. And also the shade is really pretty. It's kind of like a cool tone champagne, but not really. Let me get my brushes. I don't feel like being too complicated today, so I think I'm just gonna do like a super simple everyday look, something that I would just kind of do, you know? Yeah, so I'm gonna start with a medium shade, and I'm just gonna apply this like in my crease. It is so pretty. They're really pigmented, really easy to blend. I would say if you're looking for like an eyeshadow palette that can do everything, I would pick up this one. Even though it's just 4 shades, it's everything you need. Because this shade is the perfect transition shade, the light one is a perfect highlighter shade, and the dark one is actually dark. And it's super easy to blend, like we're basically done here. I'm gonna pick up a fluffier brush and a little bit of that highlighty shade. And I'm gonna use it here on the inner corner to brighten up that area, and also here to blend out that beige. Back with the beige a little bit. You know, it's kind of just like going back and forth like I always do. I'm gonna pick up a very small brush and take some of that dark brown, and I'm just gonna deepen the outer corner. I find that this is the easiest to do when you just open your eye and like run straight into that socket. A bit more of the middle shade, blend out the crease. And now I'm just gonna take a little bit of that gold on my finger and tap it on like the inner half of the lid, I think. That's where I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. Super simple, super easy to do, just like the most basic ass look you have ever seen. I'm gonna do the other side and I'll be right back. I did a little bit more of deepening at the outer corners because I do prefer that. Another thing you can do pretty easily is take like a thin brush, pick up the darkest shade just by itself, and kind of just run it along the lash line if you want to emphasize that a bit more. Kind of like a liner, but not really, you know? So just like slightly thickening the lash line. Now what I also want to do is use the glitter stick in my inner corners so that you can see how gorgeous and glittery it is. Just like don't get it too close to your eye because it is gonna sting. If I put it in like my lower waterline, it's over. I don't know why, just some eyeshadow sticks particularly burn there. This one does, but on the inner corners, gorgeous. So I just take like a tiny bit of the brown and like connect the look at the corner. That's just how I like to do it. That is the eyeshadow done. So yeah, see, one palette and one stick, and you wouldn't even need this stick. Like you could do this with the eyeshadow. It looks wonderful. I love it. I really do. Now let's continue with the rest of the face because we still have to highlight, and I have to give shout out to Kaleidos and their highlighters. I do have 2. I have Star Surfer, which is my absolute favorite, and I also have the Space Age Prophecy, which is my second favorite because that's the 2 I have. This one is like a beautiful multi-chrome. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera though. It's kind of like a yellow, blue, but kind of red. It's a very gorgeous, gorgeous multi-chrome. This one is a little bit less exciting, but a little bit more loved, as you can tell. And it's almost like a cool toned rose gold. It's like my favorite highlighter. I almost couldn't find any swatches of this online. I don't know why people don't seem to love it that much, but to me, this is the winner. Absolutely stunning. So I'm just gonna grab my highlighter brush and let's go in town. Woohoo! See? Isn't that just gorgeous? It is kind of rose goldy, but it doesn't have that annoying pink undertone that I hate. And it's also not super warm. Which with this look, I wouldn't mind it, but honestly, I'm way more glad that it looks like this. What a beautiful highlighter. I also have an honorable mention for another Chinese brand, which is Joocyee, and their original jelly stick. Look at that. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, well-loved, very jelly stick. I love this one. It is the OG, of course. It is stunning. It's like a swarm of diamonds on your face. I'm just gonna take a little bit on my finger and I'm gonna put it over the highlighter to add even more of a bang. And again, you can use this on your eyes. You can use it as a highlight, as an eyeshadow, as a whatever, lip topper, however you want. It's such a versatile, gorgeous product if you're someone who likes like the kind of glittery, diamondy glow. So that is everything for the face. So I'm going to set my face now. This is another one of my favorites. This is the Tirtir Mask Fit Makeup Fixer. This is a makeup setting spray that was supposed to be for their cushion foundation, which I also have, also love. But this is such a good setting spray. It is by no means as like strong as the original all-nighter or one size setting spray, but it is really, really nice. It does have a nice fine mist. It kind of smells like pastries, like in a good way, like freshly baked sweet stuff. I quite like that. And it's amazing. It makes your skin look so beautiful and lively and like melts everything together. All right, there you can see it. It just makes everything look nice and kind of like lived in, but in a very good way. And it does say it's long-lasting, blurring, and moist finish. We love a good moist finish. I wouldn't call this a moist finish. I think this is giving you like a nice, like a lively, you know, looking gorgeous finish. Yeah, that's what I would call it. And now let's look at the lips. I have only one product today and it's the Bbia, I think it's called Bbia. Bbia Glow Tint in the shade 11 Nudy. And I didn't really hear much about this brand. My favorite online store with Korean and Chinese beauty, Glow Up Diary, shout out to the girls, they're amazing. They did have like an actual store for a bit. They had like a little pop-up in one of the shopping centers here in Prague. And that's where I got it because I saw it in person and I fell in love. Because you didn't get shades like these in like Korean skin tints that often. So if I show you on my hand, kind of looks like this. It's a very nudie color. It's perfectly named actually. So how I use it is I usually apply just like mostly to the center of my lip. And this one is like so easy to blend as well because it's almost your lip color. Yeah, so just kind of like buff it. Get it where you want it for that initial lay down. And you wait for a bit for it to dry. You can see the finish. It is a little bit like hydrating. It's kind of like glossy. What I do then is layer. I do enjoy it when the lip really has that like ombre effect. So I will usually just layer until my patience runs out. But look at how gorgeous this is. So yeah, this does stain the lip a little bit. You know, like on the hand, I applied it a bit ago. And if I just wipe it off, you can see there's a little bit of a residue, but it's nothing crazy because it's a very nudie color. So what you're gonna get is like a more even tone to your lips. You can apply a gloss on top if you want it more glossy, or you can just leave it like this, or you can even blot it, I think, if you want it to be more matte. But oh my god, like this is my favorite lip at the moment. Such a gorgeous, like everyday shade. And I feel like it kind of goes with everything. So yeah, if you're looking to try something like a lip tint and you're not sure about the shade, this shade in particular, I would 100% recommend if you want to test it out and get something that is like actually everyday wearable. And that is everything, my friends. This is the full face of everything that I love the most in my Korean and Chinese beauty collection, the products that I use on the daily basis. So yeah, I hope this kind of showed you that there is a lot of good in the Korean and Chinese beauty and that a lot of stuff is actually worth your money. Like I vouch that you're gonna love these if you get them. They're wonderful products. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are not as expensive, so it really depends on you if you want to explore this corner of beauty or not. But I would say it's fun. The textures, the finishes, the formulas are definitely fun to explore, and there are some that I would definitely recommend, and they're all in this video. So yeah, that is everything. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, because I will be definitely exploring more K-beauty on this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!